Chapter 1. Born famous, but still confused. Brooklyn Beckham was born into lights, cameras, and a lot of matching outfits. Seriously, his baby photos look like someone photoshopped a Gucci ad onto a newborn. From the start, he had everything. His dad was a football legend. His mom was a Spice Girl turned fashion mogul. And Brooklyn? He made sandwiches on Instagram. But here's the thing. Being born into fame doesn't guarantee purpose. It doesn't even guarantee Wi-Fi that works in your own mansion. Brooklyn bounced from one passion to another. Photography, cooking, modeling, then back to cooking. Somewhere in between, he published a photo book so out of focus, it made people question if the camera was drunk. But behind the memes and the media mockery, Brooklyn was asking a real question. Who am I, if I'm not my dad? It's a question a lot of people ask, even those without a famous last name. Because guess what? Just like Brooklyn, you might be stuck trying to figure out what you're actually good at. You're not famous. You weren't born in a mansion. But you're still here, wondering if you can build a life that actually feels like yours. And yes, you can. Even if you have no idea what to do yet. Even if you've failed at 5 things already. Even if your mom still asks, Kapan Kurjabenaran? You don't need fame. You don't need rich parents. You just need a starting point. Next chapter, Brooklyn's first rebellion, and why it looked a lot like your first failed side hustle. Chapter 2. Rebellion, but make it rich. At age 16, Brooklyn could have trained to be a football star like his dad. Instead, he picked up a camera and said, I'm going to be a photographer. Which is cool, until you realize he had never really used a camera before. But hey, rich kids got a rebel too. You might have dyed your hair blue or dropped out of college. Brooklyn? He published a photo book that looked like it was taken with a potato. Critics destroyed it. But his family? They smiled politely like it was fine art. Even David tried to be supportive, probably while Googling, how to tell your son he's not Ansel Adams without hurting his feelings. But here's the part no one tells you. Trying something, and failing, is part of the process. Brooklyn put himself out there. And while the world laughed, he kept going. That's the real lesson. Most people never start anything because they're scared to be bad at it. But you? You only get better after you're bad. Brooklyn just did it on a bigger stage, with better lighting. Now here's where you come in. Let's say you want to try design, writing, or social media work, but you're scared it won't be good. Here's a little secret. It won't be good. Not at first. But guess what? There are AI tools now like Canva, Copy.ai, and CapCut that make your first 10 projects look like your 100th. You don't even need to be creative anymore. You just need to be curious. Start posting. Start offering services. Start failing forward. Because the only thing more embarrassing than trying and failing is doing nothing and complaining. Next chapter. Brooklyn meets Nicola and accidentally discovers the power of finding someone who believes in your weird dream. Chapter 3. Love, Legacy, and Left Turns. Enter Nicola Peltz. Actress. Heiress. Hollywood-raised, billionaire-backed. Basically, if Cinderella had a private jet and her fairy godmother was a hedge fund. Brooklyn met Nicola, and everything changed. He found someone who didn't just love him, she validated him. She told him, you're not just David Beckham's son. And he was like, finally. Somebody gets me. Also, want to make pasta on Instagram together forever. Nicola wasn't just a partner. She became his team. His agent. His co-brand. His filter. And suddenly Brooklyn had purpose, or at least a person to help him fake it till he made it. This is what I call the business relationship effect. It happens when you meet someone who says, hey, I know your idea is kind of weird, but let's do it anyway. That person might be a spouse, a friend, or an online stranger who says, dude, your designs are fire, you should sell these. If you don't have that person right now, don't worry. You can be that person for yourself. You don't need permission to start. You need progress. That's what Brooklyn got from Nicola, a green light. They cooked together on camera, built a personal brand, failed together, then pivoted, again and again. And guess what? That's how actual businesses are built. Not from perfect ideas, but from tested ones. So what can you do? Start small. Offer your skills on Fiverr. Test content on TikTok. Sell something dumb on Etsy and watch it not sell. That's fine. Every weird idea leads you somewhere better. Brooklyn made pasta for millions and still doesn't know how to hold a knife properly. You might actually succeed. Next chapter, the wedding, the drama, and how Brooklyn's big life event teaches us about building something without mom and dad. Chapter 4. The wedding that started a family feud. Palm Beach. Sunday luxury. $1 bajillion in flower arrangements. Brooklyn and Nicola's wedding was supposed to be the event of the year. But instead, it was the emotional Super Bowl of silent beef. David and Victoria Beckham showed up. Dressed. Smiling. But behind those smiles, tension thick enough to slice with a butter knife. A dull one, like the kind Brooklyn probably uses for cooking. See, Victoria allegedly wasn't involved in planning. Nicola wore a Valentino dress, not a custom Beckham design. Guests whispered. Cameras clicked. And if eyes could throw shade, half the wedding would have needed sunscreen. It wasn't just fashion. It was a quiet war for control. And Brooklyn? He chose Nicola. Not in a dramatic, disown the family way, but in a, I'm building a new unit now kind of way. This is where the real-world lesson kicks in. Eventually, every creator, freelancer, or side hustler faces this question. Can I build something that's mine, even if it goes against what my family expects? Not all of us have billionaire wives, but many of us have parents who think selling art online is not a real job, or that making videos for strangers is weird, or that coding late at night isn't productive. But here's the truth. Your future doesn't have to look like their past. Brooklyn stopped trying to fit the Beckham mold. He started making his own. Badly at first. But it was his. If you're building something right now, even if no one around you understands, keep going. You might not be planning a wedding with a hedge fund heiress, but you're building freedom. And that's priceless. Next chapter, the backlash begins. The world starts mocking Brooklyn's career choices, and how he handled it like a rich kid with a Wi-Fi password and thick skin. Chapter 5. When the internet turns on you. After the wedding, Brooklyn decided to go full public. He launched his own cooking show from his house. Big camera, big hype, big confusion. One episode in, the internet had questions. Why is he making a sandwich with 5 assistants? Why does boiling pasta require a production team? Is this satire? Spoiler, it wasn't. The comment sections lit up like 4th of July. People laughed. Articles mocked. Memes exploded. But Brooklyn didn't quit. He kept filming, kept smiling, kept posting. And that, believe it or not, was his most powerful move yet. Because the moment you put yourself out there online, you open the door for 2 things. Opportunity. Ridicule. Most people can't handle the second one, so they never get to the first. Brooklyn, he embraced the cringe, and accidentally taught us something important. Consistency beats perfection. People might not remember the sandwich, but they'll remember he showed up. Now here's where you jump in. You want to make money online? You're going to look weird at first. Posting your voiceover on TikTok? Weird. Selling low-budget digital art on Etsy? Weird. Pitching your skills on Fiverr when you've only done projects for your cousin? Extra weird. But keep going. Because while everyone's laughing, you're learning. And while everyone's scrolling, you're earning. Even Brooklyn, the internet's favorite rich meme, landed brand deals, articles, followers, and more screen time. Not because he was good, but because he was there. And you? You've got better tools, better awareness, and probably a better sandwich recipe. So don't quit after your first fail, or your first troll, or your first post that gets 3 views and one of them is your mom. You're still in the game. Next chapter. The quiet rift between Brooklyn and his dad, and how it mirrors the moment every growing adult has to step out of their mentor's shadow. Chapter 6. The day Dad didn't call back. Somewhere between the pasta shows and the perfume campaigns, something shifted. Brooklyn and David stopped showing up together. No football clinics. No Beckham family group interviews. No father-son bonding pictures with matching outfits. Just silence. Rumors started flying. Did David disapprove of Brooklyn's career choices? Was it Nicola? Was it Brooklyn wanting space? Or was it simply the awkwardness of growing up under a global icon? Imagine your dad is a literal legend, like a statue is built for him level of legend. And you just want to make grilled cheese on TikTok. That pressure? It's invisible but heavy. Now here's where it hits you hard. Because whether or not your dad's face is on a billboard, at some point in life you'll have to decide. Do I follow the path others paved for me? Or do I start clearing my own? And no, it doesn't have to be dramatic. You're not disowning anyone. You're just declaring independence. Brooklyn's silence with David wasn't hate. It was identity. And this is something you should remember. Not everyone will cheer when you change. Especially the ones who taught you who you were. But change is necessary. That's what growth looks like. Awkward. Quiet. Misunderstood. And sometimes, the only way to earn respect as an adult is to risk being seen as the villain temporarily. Brooklyn didn't burn bridges. He just stopped waiting for permission to build his own. You can do the same. You don't have to fight with your mentor, boss, or parent. You just need to start building something of your own. And don't worry if it's slow. Don't worry if they don't get it, yet. One day they will. Next chapter. A letter, a photo, and the most unexpected sign of reconciliation. But is it real? Or just PR? Chapter 7. The letter that didn't go viral. Victoria Beckham isn't just a fashion icon. She's a master of the soft, silent statement. So when the drama hit its peak, the cold stares, the awkward photos, the disappearing appearances, she didn't run to the tabloids. She wrote a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A real letter. On paper. Like it's 1996 and stamps are back in fashion. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a guilt trip. It was honest. She told Brooklyn she missed him. That she was proud of him. That no matter how many last names he used, he'd always be a Beckham to her. She folded it. Sent it. And waited. Weeks passed. No response. No cryptic Instagram story. No subtweet with a moody quote about finding yourself. Until one day, Brooklyn posted a photo. It was him and Nicola, standing in front of their new home. Caption: Our new beginning. No tag. No mention. But Victoria saw it. And maybe, just maybe, that was the reply. This is your life lesson. Not all validation comes with applause. Sometimes, the people who care about you won't understand what you're doing right away. And sometimes they won't say it out loud. But that doesn't mean they stop supporting you. You just have to keep building. Even when no one's clapping. Even when the people you love the most stay quiet. Because the day will come when they don't just understand your journey. They respect it. So whatever hustle you're on right now, keep going. You might not get a standing ovation, but you're building your own stage. Next chapter. Brooklyn becomes a brand, and what that means for anyone trying to monetize their personality in a digital world. Chapter 8. From Brooklyn Beckham to Brooklyn the brand. Something changed. Brooklyn stopped chasing jobs and started becoming the job. No more trying out photography. No more random pasta episodes. No more painfully awkward interviews where he said things like, "I just really love stuff." Instead, he leaned into the one thing he had that no one else could replicate. Himself. He became a brand. A vibe. A character. You'd see him in fashion shoots with Nicola. Then in cooking campaigns. Then suddenly in lifestyle ads for home decor. Because apparently Brooklyn is also an expert in cushions now. He wasn't mastering any one thing. He was mastering the presence. And that's where it clicks. In today's world, attention is currency. If people are watching, you can turn it into income. Brooklyn wasn't a pro chef. But he was watchable. Relatable, in a chaotic, rich kid trying to boil water way. And brands ate it up. Here's what you need to steal from this. You don't need to be the best at something to monetize it. You just need a mix of personality, consistency, a little weirdness. Start with short videos. Talk about things you love or hate with passion. Post twice a day for 30 days. Watch what sticks. Then, build around it. Your face, your voice, your take on life, that's your brand. Don't wait for it to be perfect. You think Brooklyn waited until he was Gordon Ramsay? He still can't pronounce bouillabaisse. But he's on brand. And brand is bank. Next chapter, the final transformation. The project that shocked everyone, and why it may be Brooklyn's most powerful move yet. Chapter 9. The project no one saw coming. Just when people thought they had Brooklyn figured out. As the rich kid who rebranded laziness into lifestyle content. He dropped a teaser. No sandwich. No guarda-smile. Just a dark screen with his voice. People think they know me. But I've never told my story. Until now. Boom. Internet breaks. Was it a docuseries? A podcast? An apology video for overcooked pasta? Turns out, it was a personal documentary. Produced by him, directed with Nicola, and backed by people who, frankly, still had no clue what the documentary was actually about. But here's the twist. The story wasn't about fame. It was about purpose. About trying, failing, pivoting, and owning it all on camera. Brooklyn showed behind-the-scenes footage. All the messy stuff. The awkward calls. The fights with Nicola. The moment he cried because a producer told him, "You're only interesting because of your last name." And he admitted it. But then he said something powerful. "If people come for my name, I'll make sure it means something." That moment, it changed the narrative. Even critics started clapping. Because in a world full of perfect influencers, Brooklyn gave us the ugly draft. And that felt real. Here's your takeaway. You don't need to be the hero in your story. You just need to be honest about where you are. That's the kind of content people stick with. If you're starting something, document it. Share your failures. Make trying your brand. That's more relatable than winning ever will be. Brooklyn didn't become famous again. He became relevant. And relevance is the new fame. Next chapter, the final episode. Brooklyn steps into his own identity, and what you can learn about building something that's truly yours. Chapter 10. Finally becoming Brooklyn. No stage. No sponsors. No designer suits or PR teams whispering what to say. Just Brooklyn. In his own words. He said this. "I'm not a footballer. I'm not a model. I'm not trying to be a celebrity. I just want to make things. And maybe help people feel okay about not having it all figured out." And with that he arrived. Not as David Beckham's son. Not as Victoria's project. But as Brooklyn, the guy who stumbled, fumbled, and somehow made it make sense. And honestly, that's way more inspiring than any perfect story ever could be. Because here's what you should walk away with. You don't need to wait until you're ready. You don't need a plan that guarantees success. You just need momentum. Brooklyn's journey wasn't straight. It was awkward, messy, often meme-worthy. But he kept showing up. And that's what made it work. So what now? Now it's your turn. You don't need fame. You don't need billions. You just need a laptop, a voice, and the guts to be misunderstood for a little while. Build your thing. Launch the idea. Post the video. Start with tools like ChatGPT, CapCut, or Canva. Use platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or Fiverr. Talk to an audience of 0 until it becomes 10, then 100, then 1,000. Brooklyn didn't take the easy road. He took the real one. And so can you. Because success isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving yourself right, even when no one's clapping yet. And that is your sign to begin.